Matthew chapter 24, verse 14. This we're going to start. And then shall the end come, end of the last days, which started when Daniel's first beast came out of the sea. In Daniel chapter 7, verse 2 and 4, Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision at night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea, and four great beasts come up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first one was like a lion. This happened in August. This actually happened and fulfilled was in August 8th in the year 1588, when Britain and Queen Elizabeth I destroyed the Spanish Armada as the Spanish were attempting to invade Britain in the Battle of Gravelines. So when it says, then the end shall come, well, this is the last days, and the first beast come up out of the ocean, and that was the British, and which became the British Empire, and that came out of there. They built their ships, they built their massive navy, and they started spreading out all over. And the sea that the four beasts came up out of was humanity. The sea, in other words, they came on the stage, and Britain has been on the stage. Well, Britain has been on the stage for about 500 years. And the eagle's wings, then it speaks about and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked. And this happened in 1776, when the eagle's wings was plucked from the British lion, when the American Revolution started. And it was left up into the earth. It was lifted up into the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. This happens to the lion, not the eagle's wings. Now, it says, when ye, verse 15, and 15 in Matthew chapter 24, when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. This is dealing with the third temple. When the Antichrist comes in, and if you Voice of the Prophet series that I've written, you'll see that the Antichrist is brought into Jerusalem by the wicked part of Judah. There's the majority of the Jews are good, but there is a wicked part that dominates the whole body of Judaism. And they're not very large, but they dominate the direction and guidance and management of the rest of the body of Jews, pretty much. It says, so what happens is when they bring him in, it says a few days before this happens, the glory of the Lord, which is shown above, and in the first temple, Solomon's temple, it was shown at Solomon's temple, and then we're dealing with, of course, at this point in time, in prophecy, we're dealing with the third temple, and that's yet to be built. But that is built when the second Exodus is completed. The moment the second Exodus is completed, and then you have the Valley of Jezreel, where the covenant's made with all the tribes and the Christians with it, and it's in the Valley of Jezreel, and then they go from that incident, from that event to Jerusalem, and they start building the third temple. Now, don't ask me about the Dome of the Rock. I don't know where it's going to be. I don't know what it won't be on the Temple Mount. All I can say by that time. And I don't believe they dismantle it either. I think it's already dismantled or taken away or destroyed or something. Something happens to it. We don't know what exactly. And so, because it's not in prophecy. And that's why we can't say what happens to it. It says, the Shekinah glory for the time period. Now, for the time period that the kingdom is there, that's the kingdom of Zion, the kingdom of Israel. It's not the state of Israel. Don't get it confused with the state of Israel. These are two separate deals, completely separate deals. And the kingdom of Israel, or the kingdom of Zion, is going to be there for about a year. Well, it never does leave. It just goes into different fractions of it. And it's going to be there. It builds the third temple. The latter-day King David, which is what prophecy would refer to him as, he's going to be sitting on the throne, because we're trying to deal with the rapture here and not with all the subjects that the series deals with and all the subjects that if you take prophecy of the Bible in its completion, all the different things that happen in the tribulation period, and there are tremendous amounts of things happening in the tribulation period that is not known by Christians and not really known by the Jews either, not really known by the tribes. And the tribes of the 10 lost tribes are the 10 scattered tribes and Judah, who's still scattered in the nations. Verse 15, when you shall therefore see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whosoever readeth, let him understand. So that's what we did. That's what happens is he appears, and he appears not completely by surprise, because some point in time shortly before he appears, the Shekinah glory, or the glory that's over the temple, the third temple, that the same glory that was over the first temple, but was not over the second temple. Okay, when Jesus was 2,000 years ago, when Jesus was in the Holy Land, there was no glory over the second temple, but there will be, that glory will return over the third temple. Okay, and so the third temple, what happens is the glory leaves, like it did over the first temple before the invasion came. It leaves the temple, and it goes off. And that's how they're going to know that it's about to happen. It's when they see the glory of God that was over the temple, when it moves off and leaves. So verse 16, then let them which be in Judea flee unto the mountains. This is the command for Judah, the tribe of Judah, to flee to Petra. So it says, because it says be in Judah. Okay, so it's talking to the tribe of Judah, and that's the tribe that the Jews make up. You know, they don't make up the other 10 tribes. They make up the tribe of Judah. They're from the tribe of Judah. And so then let them which be in Judea flee to the mountains. And the mountains they're going to flee to is Petra. And that's when they go into Petra, when this happens. When the abomination that maketh desolate, which is basically the Antichrist, entering the holies of holies of the third temple. Verse 17 and 18. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Okay, so Judah's already fled. Okay, I don't know. Maybe they also get tipped off by the wicked part of Judah that tells them what's about to happen, and they realize what's going to happen. But this is the two separate deals. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. So Christians who are grafted into the olive tree, which is what we are, which is what Christ has done. He's grafted us into the olive tree, and the 10 tribes, which may be one and the same, but they do not have to be. In other words, most of the 10 tribes, when they come back, they're going to be Christian, but they don't have to be. I mean, the 10 tribes did not replace, the Christianity did not replace the 10 tribes. Okay. The 10 tribes are still scattered out in the nations. It's just that at their time of being in the nations, which is it's like 2,700 to 3,000 years, their time of being scattered out into the nations, they became Christian. As during that time period, most of them became Christian, but not all. We can't say that all of them become Christians. So Christianity does not replace the tribes. The 10 tribes are fulfilled with Christianity. They are, that's why so many of them, and this is what it's talking about when it says this. It talks about Judah fleeing to Petra, and it talks about the 10 tribes and the Christians. It's talking about leaving their housetops and leaving the field and not going back. They're not going back because it's too dangerous for them, because events are unfolding so fast, they do not have time, and also because their place of safety is separate from Petra. And their place of safety is in the north. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And the Jews' place of safety during this time, and only during this time, is in the south. Petra is not going to be a place of safety when the state of Israel is invaded and that war breaks out. It's not going to be a place of safety for the Jews. So, but it will be during this time. It's talking about. So it says, flee to the wilderness. It also tells us to flee to the wilderness. And the wilderness is different than where it tells Judah to flee to the mountains. The wilderness is going to have mountains in it, but this is going to be in the north. And there's a lot of other prophecy in the Bible that deals with this. So we're not going to go into that. That's a whole different teaching. But then it says, Revelations chapter 12, 1 through 6.
For further information on this topic, please go to our website, toexodus.com. God bless you. This is Dan Griffey.